Hey YouTube, welcome to the Off-Grid Mountain Homestead. Got a little generator maintenance for you today on the old Honda EU3000. This is my hydrocarbon power plant. Rely on this heavily on rainy days, cloudy days, snowy days, stuff like that. And this right here hauls the mail. It keeps the homestead running when we get a spell of bad weather in the Appalachians. But anyhow, this thing, we've had her about 2 years now. Had old Champion before this, just a little smaller generator, but upgraded this Honda. So fuel efficient, so quiet. I mean, you won't believe how quiet this thing is. But anyhow, it's time for some real important maintenance. A very important task on these Hondas that maybe some of you are overlooking, maybe you're not, but I'm gonna show you the, kind of a hidden maintenance item a lot of people forget about on generators. She's got about 1,000 hours on her. And I keep track of how much fuel. I know exactly how much fuel it burns, for the amount of hours it runs, stuff like that, or, per gallon of fuel, I know how many hours it burns at my load. 2,000 watts, when it's running, that's what it's loaded to, is 2,000 watts out of 3,000. I usually average into the batteries 5 kilowatts or so per gallon of fuel through this generator. So that's pretty efficient considering the chargers are only 80 to 85% efficient. So a little bit of nerd talk, but let's get on to the maintenance task for this old Honda EU3000. So let's get back here to the business side of things. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get in here and clean the spark arrestor. You should do that at least once a year. You'll be surprised how much carbon will build up on that spark arrestor. That'll start dropping your fuel efficiency. Maybe give you a little rough running every now and again, depending on how clogged it is. I'm gonna show you how to access that and how to clean it, and show you what a year's worth of carbon looks like on this filter. So it's been within a few days of a year since the last time I've cleaned this spark arrestor. So I always clean around Thanksgiving time, so we're getting close to that, so it's time to clean it. And as far as oil, I didn't cover that at the beginning of the video, but I run synthetic oil in it because, I crank it up anywhere from 4 degrees to 104 degrees outside. So I run synthetic to help it on them cold temp starts, and with that high temperature stress that may see sometimes. I always run 5W30 in it. Some people do 1030, some people run straight 30, but I've had good results with the 5W30. And as far as hours, they recommend 100 hours. But you can get 100 hours of run time in a week if you get a week of rain. So I go a little bit over. I usually go about 150 to 200 hours on synthetic, and it usually comes out still pretty clean. So I could probably push it further. Probably need a lab report on that oil, but that's all right. It's just cheap enough oil. Just change it. But let's get to the business. I gotta take this cover off right here. So I'm going to use 10mm socket right here to get these bolts off, and then of course before I start, I gotta pop that off right there. So let's do it. And once you get all your 4 bolts out right there, just pull this back cover, just wiggle it, and that whole back cover comes off and exposes that whole section right there. All right, when you take that outer cover off, this is what you'll see. The next step is to take these 2 bolts off right here for this shroud, right here for the muffler. These are also 10mm. So, socket, impact, whatever you got, just, bust that loose, get it off. And this is what we're trying to get at right here. That's the exhaust port right there. And there's 2 little, there's 6 or 8s, I can't remember, down in there. But you gotta take the handle off after you get that shroud off, because this is a fiberglass fireboard insulation piece. So you gotta take the handle off because this is fixed on there, and them are 12mm. So next, just take the 4 bolts off for the handle, which are 12s. So of course you can impact them or regular, ratchet, whatever you want, and just get the handle out of the way. All right, so once you get the handle and stuff off, and you can leave these bolts in there, by the way, and use them to line your handle back up to start with, or take them out, your choice, whatever you want. Once you get to this point, then you got to take this bottom shroud off, back to our 10mm again. So just take all these bolts off right down here, and then remove this cover. Okay, so once you get your bottom cover off, there's some little tabs that this sits in, but you have to take one more thing off with your 10mm. That little pin right there that goes in the side. Ooh, let me get you over there so you can see right there. That holds it, that won't let it flop over to the side. So then you just kind of wiggle it out of there, gently like that right there. So hope y'all saw that good. It's pretty easy. Just remember, take that out right there, and then it'll kind of wiggle over. And then when you tuck it back in, it goes behind them little tabs right there and back up against everything. So you can see the back side of the engine right here. Here's the exhaust port. You see that it goes into the muffler, and then this is the outlet of the muffler, and the spark arrestor that'll get crudted up and nasty is right here in this section. So you can see the flange right there, the bolt. So that'll be the next thing we take off. And it's also a good time just check for oil leaks, anything. Make sure no critters have been in there. Check your motor mounts and stuff for any signs of vibration and everything. Wipe all this up before I put it back together, all this dirt that's splashed in here. But that gives you a good idea what the back of it looks like. So now I will start working on getting the spark arrestor out. And the spark arrestor bolts, that's the flange. One bolt goes this way. I'll try to get you this one. One bolt comes in that way. It's 8mm, and I do not recommend an impact gun on this, and I recommend to manually remove them bolts in case one's stuck, which not bad. Get that loose, and then come up underneath here with a deep well. You can get right on that one. All right. Another reason to use the deep well socket, those little bolts are stubby. There's, I've got one right here. If you use the deep well socket underneath, it'll just drop right in the socket and you won't lose it. Cause you lose that down in that generator cavity, that's gonna be a bad day. All right, so once you get those two bolts out, there's one more right there that holds this flange in. There's the flange right there. Another 8mm bolt that holds this standpipe on there. So you got to come in with the deep well right there on the side, and so I can get it lined up here. Sorry, I'm trying to film and work at the same time. So you got to get that 8mm. Ooh, look around through there. There we go. On that bolt right there. There we go. So when you get that bolt off, see, this just pops out right there. I'm gonna get out in the sun in a minute so you can see it real good. That's the exhaust port, and there is the spark arrestor right there. Yep, it's carbon in there pretty good. So let me try to get that out. All right, so I had to grab a control screwdriver, just a little thin bladed screwdriver. Try to work around the edges and get this thing broke free. Don't pry too hard, don't pry the screen. It'll pop out if you're easy with it. It's working its way loose now. Here we go. Still not too bad. If I can do this one-handed, surely y'all won't have too much trouble doing it with two hands. It's pretty easy. Just got to get your angle right on this. There we go. It's coming loose now. Let's see how much crud's on it. Get it broke loose. Not as bad as I thought. Not too awful bad. Let's get out in the sunlight and look at it a little closer. Well, there is the spark arrestor. Got some built up on it, but not bad for a year. It's mainly back here on the back side. You can see some of the ports are kind of stopped up in the back. But wasn't hampering it too awful bad. But still gonna clean it up. It's just a good thing to check. Now the first one was dirtier. The first time I ever cleaned it, was dirtier than this. So I was hoping to surprise everybody, but it's not that bad this time. So she's not burning no oil. She's tuned pretty good. So I'm happy to see it's not filthy like it was the first time. So yeah, good to see. Let's go clean it. So I was thinking of why it's cleaner this time than last time. It didn't make any sense that it's cleaner than it was before. Now the only thing I've done different is I've quit using fuel stabilizer. Now I wonder if the fuel stabilizer is making deposits on the spark arrestor for the first cleaning, because it's pretty clean for a year's worth of runtime. So I don't know if the there's a little bit of stuff coming off, but I don't know if the fuel stabilizer is causing gunk to build up on it quicker than normal or what. Might be a correlation there. Can't prove it, but that's the only thing I've changed in the last year is I quit using fuel stabilizer in it. Get this thing cleaned off real good. I'll show you it nice and spick and span. Well, a few minutes soaking and old brake clean. Nice and clean, not a whole lot of gunk come out of it. So, yeah, just sitting here thinking it's got to be some correlation with taking that stabilizer out of the fuel that this thing didn't carbon up as bad. Yeah, it's just got me baffled why it's cleaner. So, you know, probably the same amount of run time within, you know, negligible amount anyhow, year to year. But, yeah, there she is. Almost that gold, factory gold color again. And there's the little bit of carbon crud in there where it's soaking. I mean, there was some filth on it, but wasn't really bad at all. So, yeah, that's good. All right, and one more tip of advice. See the little hole here? There's a little dimple right there that this hole pops into. So when you put your spark arrestor back in, line back up that dimple, and you'll feel it click and engage. And then just reassemble everything. So you can consult, you know, for proper torque values or whatever. I give her a good snug up. You know, if you're mechanicking on stuff, you kind of know where to stop at on everything. So got that on, and then I'm gonna put that cover back in next. And remember, when you're putting this outer cover on, it goes behind these tabs just like that, so you can get it in position. It just snaps back in just like that. Pretty easy. Just make sure it's tight against everything. That's part of your soundproofing, all that. And then just get your little bolt. Goes right there, your standoff nut for the outer cover. Get it started by hand first, and then just send it home. And then the rest is pretty simple, putting it all back together. One thing left to do, make sure everything does its stuff. Sounds good. So I hope that helps somebody. If you're wondering about your spark arrestor maintenance on your Honda generator, I hope it shows you how to do it. It's pretty quick. I mean, that was mostly real time. If I wouldn't have been having to hold the camera and cut and, you know, all that stuff, that's a 10-minute job really, minus, you know, taking the spark arrestor and decarbonizing it and cleaning it, and then that took a few minutes. But, you know, all in all, less than a 15-minute job. So just check it on your generator if you hadn't checked it in a while. You may be surprised, like me, it may be clean, or you may be surprised it may be filthy, but it's probably the last video of the Honda in this little hut that it's in now. I'm building a concrete little room for it with forced ventilation, S-turns in the ductwork and all that to cancel out the sound. You know, I get 100 foot away, I can't hear it loaded as is, but I want it where if you're 25 foot away, you can't hear it running. So that's the ultimate goal if you're having to burn hydrocarbons, at least be responsible and have it as quiet as possible. But, you know, hope you enjoyed it. If you don't mind, hit that like button if I earned it. Questions, go ahead and throw it in the comments. And if you're not subscribed, I'd greatly appreciate a subscription. Thank y'all for watching the Aerator Homestead. Hope you have a nice day.